I'd rather see them do a good behavior that leads to no money than to be able to point to, I closed that. If you close a deal for $1 million, but all the collateral damage hurts the full body, you know, it doesn't work.
What is it you look for and how do they best serve you?
I look for intent. You know, we just had an offsite Friday with all the VaynerX leadership, Singapore, London, people that run speaking, Sasha, all the companies. And I made it very clear in that meeting of like what I'm looking for, which is don't worry about your own P&L. You know, it's why I've never loved bonuses, because it becomes narrow ROI, not macro. I look for intent. You know, I look for a lack of insecurity. I think insecurity leads to the disproportionate worse behavior. And I look for somebody who compliments me or has a communication style that works for me, usually osmosis. You know, one of the reasons Zach was so fundamentally interesting, and it's played out. I mean, it's scary how little Zach and I have talked in the first year, right, Zach? You know, it's people that are capable. I hate to micromanage. I love to pick people I believe in and empower them, but I love being able to, it's why, you know, Zach's amazing. He's really done a good job. Like, I give him a lot of credit. Steve too, joining, like, they don't have an office, like, to like do, Zach's like, I need an office to do calls. And I was like, yeah, we'll get you one. Like a year later, he's still sitting in the pit. And like, and like, having that flexibility, that's humility. You know, he didn't ask for a whole lot. And I'm like, I can't give it, I'm like, but then I'm like, look, use my office every single time I'm not there. You know, you do those kind of things. And then number two, where I was going actually, which made me tell you that micro story, was because he is in the walk path from me in the entrance to my office, the fact that I can look at him and he can look at me, and in that 4 seconds, I just know, cool, everything's fine, you don't need anything. Like, we're literally having a conversation without having one. I look for that a lot. That's because that leads to speed. The number one thing I hate in the world is meetings. Like, I hate them. I'm fascinated by people's abilities to have a 1 hour meeting on something that was a text. Right? And people try to save it with technology and with Slack. Slack is destroying VaynerMedia.
How so?
Everybody's living on it and just sending each other fucking jokes all day. Like, I don't know, like it's great at first, and then it's not great.
Yeah.
At scale.
Yeah.
A lot of very large companies are taking out Slack.
Yeah.
You know? Intent, like, forget about osmosis, look grunting at each other good. Forget about people that compliment me, whether they're detail oriented or things of that nature. It's genuine intent. You know, again, I'm looking at Steve behind your back. Like, you know, when we were courting him, like, he's so business development. He's like, I can do a lot of things, and I know he can, but I want people to come into my world for a little while. It's so different than the, you know, hunting and killing ROI, and you want that. You want those winning players, but you have to create an infrastructure. They have to deeply trust me that I will value their intent versus what the money that, I would much rather watch either one of them to everybody, Maha, everybody, Reed, you know, Andrea, these are all business development people, all the people running the business. I'd rather see them do a good behavior that leads to no money than to be able to point to, I closed that. If you close a deal for $1 million, but all the collateral damage hurts the full body, you know, it doesn't work. Not when you're going for real shit. When you're going for, we're gonna flip this company to a private equity firm and they're gonna multiply against the EBA, and then all of a sudden you value anybody who's killing anybody in their way because you're just looking for that dollar amount. But when you're building something in perpetuity,